You remember here, I don't know, maybe it's been a week, 2 weeks ago, what have you. I posted a video, whether it was a live stream, I think it was a live stream. Matter of fact, I think Hayden was there with me. But anyhow, it was on protesting, where I told people that you had to have a permit to protest. Okay, now we know when we first locked down that everything was closed pretty much, and city halls, all city buildings, and so we had all city buildings closed, we had courthouses closed, the whole 9 yards. And before any openings started taking place anywhere, we had protests popping off. And of course, my question then was if everything's closed, lawyers' offices, city buildings, courthouses, and everybody's at home, how would you, I mean, a judge could always do from home via a webcam, okay, with law enforcement for people who get arrested, if they get bond or whatever. Bonding agencies could handle one person at a time. Yeah, okay, that can still go on. But overall, most functions are not going on, and you're not going to be able to file for or permit to protest. And if you just get people together and go protest, you're going to get stopped. Okay, well, here's a state by state. Okay, the latest on the law when it comes to protest laws, state by state. And you can go through this. Anybody can find it. Didn't take me but a minute to find it. Okay, and you'll see Alabama applies to any demonstration or other event organized and held political, religion, or other First Amendment related purposes. Must fill out BAM application 3 working days before demonstration. Okay? Pay non-refundable fee. That's just for one state. You can see the next one. See, we're in the divided states of America, so for every state it's going to vary. It really is. I seen one when I was looking through it where they were charging like $186. It was ridiculous. But as you can see, apply 30 to 45 days for Delaware in advance. For groups under 300 people, 90 to 120 days in advance for groups of 300 or more. Wow, now how would you stop from people doing a protest from people from gathering, huh? The District of Columbia, Florida, must file special events permit 90 days prior to the demonstration. Application fee $100 to $200 depending on the event. There you go. See, this is what I was telling you. Here, right here. Pay a fee of $186.50 permit application. Okay. Must file within 45 days of the demonstration. This is what I was telling you. You got to look it up for your own state. Depends on where you're at. And my problem, of course, was simple. If everything was closed, how was you filing and for these permits? Even if you could do it online and pay online, if everything was closed, who was going to be there to process it? Maybe one of the courthouse or a few courthouse workers got the courthouse program on their computer at home. I doubt it, though. Maybe they got a few of them that are coming in and they're, behind the scenes, behind your back, have to key the courthouse door, the city office, and they unlock it, go in and lock it back up and go to their office, and maybe they're handling it. I don't know. I honestly can't answer that for you, but I can tell you this. I wouldn't think when we first went into lockdown before any openings started happening outside of maybe a few workers from home and judges or whatever, a few workers might have showed up, in the justice system because arrests are still going to happen, bonds are still going to happen, blah, blah, okay? I didn't know about permits. Some of these other departments, like in my town, you can't file for any of that. If you are, you're doing it online. And because there ain't no workers in them offices, according to my mayor, it wouldn't do you any good to do it online. Do you see what I'm saying? So, of course, I brought up that question mark. And to me, this is how this went down. Because there's semi-load of evidence proving that what's going on in today's society right now with this invisible ghost was planned years and years in advance. That's why it's called planned, because it was. Okay? And so therefore the protests that you were seeing popping up before any opening, I'm sure a bunch of them all over the United States was government scheduled protests. Because they knew that people would be angry. They knew that people would show up. They even probably had contact with a few speakers that are probably a big psyop in your face to draw you in. And I said it wasn't good because all of this is planned. And I'm going to show you what I mean by planned. And then we're going to talk about it, okay? So let's take a look at a protest that was getting set to go. I know Corey Man X over there, he's responsible for this. Not for what's going down, but he's responsible for the footage. Okay, because he's getting out and going to doing these things, but I don't think it's a good thing because what you're doing is you're walking into a setup. You're walking into a trap. Oh, you don't think so? Well, then we all know our government's on our side. They're all good guys. They would never lie to you. They would never set you up. Your government would never hurt you because they're here to protect you. Really? Let's watch.
Jenkins, is getting investigated. Hey, check that out.
Hey, anybody has a phone, put your hands up. Put your hands up. Keep them there, I can see them.
That's right. You got a metal detector? Get your hands in the air now. There you are. What are you seeing? Oh no, it's military type vehicle. Yes, sirree. It's a police state. That's right. Here you are. Military vehicle. Anybody got a gun? Get your hands in the air now. We have our guns, but you're not allowed any. This is tyranny. This is what I was telling you. This is a setup. The open carry was the worst idea I've ever seen. Okay, I understand you're trying to stick up for your so-called rights, but the Constitution was never wrote for us, the people. No, that was an illusion that you had. It was a mirage. See, if you understand the Constitution was wrote for them, the establishment, not for us. You know how they broke it down? Anything that started with a capital letter applied to them and not you or me. And then when you went through it, you found out the whole damn thing started with capital letters. Why do you think they constantly break your constitutional rights? Because it applies to them, not you. And they're coming after the firearms. They've been doing this for a long time through many means. We've had many false flags already, things that was staged, that was planned, that was considered an exercise drill, because it's been passed into law that they can. That's right, that they can do that. And they're breaking the laws because the lawmakers are all in bed with the rest. So they passed into law tyrannical laws to protect themselves. They didn't accidentally hand out military-grade stuff to the law enforcement all over this country. Oh, yeah, I know. They just accidentally gave it to them. No. This is the reason I said what I said. You're going to a government-sponsored protest because they already knew that you were going to want to protest. They already knew you would. Yes, sirree. They already knew it. And they like it when you go open carry. They sure do. They love it because when you go open carry, well, here's what's happening to you. And this is just the beginning. Oh no, this is just the beginning. I think we need to fight to stop these criminals for sure. This is my opinion. But I think it needs to be done in a smarter way. You don't occupy a government protest, open carry, unless you're looking to possibly be carried out of there in a body bag. And if you're not looking to be carried out of there in a body bag, then I would suggest that you don't be carrying a gun to a protest. I think there's a time when them guns will be needed. Because whether you realize it or not, it's already been rolled into law long ago by executive order right under your nose. See, the government has the right to seize all property from everybody and anyone. All property. Your materialistic items don't belong to you. You need to understand a long time ago, Rothschild made this statement. He was dead serious. He said, we own the paper and the ink that your money is printed on. We give you permission to borrow some of our money in return for your labor. We give you permission to use some of our money for your perishables, food and water. But anything outside of perishables that you buy with our money, that we borrowed to you for your labor, that merchandise belongs to us by default because it's our money you're using. Now, they've literally wrote this into law that the government can come in and take everything you own, your cars, your guns, your house, your furniture, your TV, your clothes. That's no lie. That's fact. Matches right up to what the Rothschild said, doesn't it? Oh, don't believe me? Go look. If you're too afraid to look and you're just going to call me a liar without looking, you're the idiot. That's what you are. You're the sound sleep idiot that wants to be in denial of something without looking. And too lazy to go look for yourself. It's just a lot easier to open your mouth and stick your big nasty foot in it. Anyhow, I'll get off that. This is what we have to look forward to.
You in the blues, shirt with the short, keep your hands up. You with the hat, green shirt, put your hands up, I can't see them. Video guy, get back! Video guy in a white shirt, get back!
Dude, I'd probably say there's at least 10 cop cars aside from this vehicle.
There you go, at least 10 cop cars besides this military vehicle leading the pack. That's right, and all of them are armed. While they tell you you're not allowed to be armed. me know, Corey Man X. Look at this guy. He's got his hands in the air. Oh, not me, man. I ain't doing nothing. Cop walk by. Okay, we'll put our hands down now. See, this is just absolutely sickening what I'm seeing here. But I knew this was going to be. I knew this was coming. I did. What do you think? I said I wouldn't be going to no government-sponsored protest, for one. For two, you know, when the government filed for these, oh, you dang right the government puts these protests in order. They probably had all this stuff filed for, paid. They don't pay them. They just set it up and gave themselves permission and drew up a permit and signed it and said, there we go, and didn't cost them a penny because they are the government, you know. And they set up all their protests in January and February. They sure did. Guaranteed. And you all running to them, huh? And then you're getting brave. We're going to fight for the Second Amendment, man. We're going to show them. We're going to show them, man. We got our Second Amendment. And we're going to open carry. They like that. They sure do. They love it. Go back here and look. We'll see how much they love it.
Put your hands up! Keep them there where I can see them!
That's right. You got a gun. Get your hands up. You heard them. Do you have a gun?
Anybody has a firearm, put your hands up! Put your hands up! Keep them there where I can see them!
There you go. You don't need to hear anymore. This is exactly what I was telling you was going to happen. So here you are. This is what I knew was going to come down the pike, okay? And this is only the beginning. Yes, it's only the beginning. There's going to be more protests. There sure are. And there's going to be more idiots open carrying. I'll tell you what. This is my opinion. You don't open carry. Don't give them an excuse. Keep your guns at home. Keep your ammo ready. And keep it ready to go. When they decide that they want to come for your personal belongings that you worked for your whole life, don't become cowards, man. Let your whole neighborhood that got guns rise up at one time and say no. And stand by each other. Because if you allow them to take your neighbor's belongings, they will be at your door. And then they'll be at the next door, and the next door, and the next door, and the next door, and the next door. And if you don't want that happening, then you need to stand up for yourself. You need to tell, Mr. Rothschild, that he's a sick psychopath, and no, you don't own the money we work for. We work for it, it's our money, it's not yours. Because you own the paper and ink it was printed on, don't make you by default the owner of it. That is 100% criminal behavior. If you're laboring, no, you're not laboring to borrow it, but according to Rothschild, you are. And according to the laws that's been wrote, you are. Because if I go according to my executive orders that's been signed, and you start digging into bills that were passed into law, executive orders that have not been overturned, you're going to find out they have a right to back up what Rothschild said. Oh, but they'll never do it. They didn't write it and put it in a document because they'll never do it. They've already done it in history. In real history, they've already done it. Well, but they'll never do it again. Want to bet? How much money you got? Come on. If you're that dumb to believe they'll never do it again when history's replaying itself in your face right now, I don't think there's any help for you. I really don't. Can lead the horse to water, but you can't make him drink it. This is just stupidity. Then this means people get to die of ignorance. That's right. But I think there's a time that we may very well need our guns coming before long. And I'm not going to put no date on nothing. But I'm going to tell you this. This is just the beginning of what you're seeing here. There's more protests scheduled. They're going to boot off. They're going to be all over the country. People are going to be open carrying like Corey. They're going to get a provocateur, an agent, an employee of the establishment, and locations at protest who are going to use a weapon in an open carry to create a scene. And there's going to be one or two people shot and killed, most likely. And so, no, don't go to a government-sponsored protest with a gun on your back thinking you're smart. Because you may be wearing lead. And I would hope that you're not. You could have a firefight in the street. Real quick. And now you gave Trump a reason to declare martial law. And now they'll move in for the guns. Because it is about taking all of your rights away from you. And controlling you and enslaving you. And making themselves filthy rich and stealing at the same time. What do you think wars have always been about? It's been about killing people to steal resources and land. That's right, it's about thieves. It's about your failure to grow up. And you see what's going on right here. This is the reason I've said this stuff. And I'm very adamant about you not giving up your rights, but I'm also very adamant about you being smart and using what's inside your head. And realizing you got to have permission to protest. I'm sorry, but you do. Because you don't own yourself. You have to pay your boss, your owner, one of your many owners, money. And fill out this application and be approved before you can go have a protest. If you just get a bunch of people together and go have a protest and get all your signs made up and head out the door, well, your protest is going to be overturned by these people you see right here, law enforcement. You're going to go to jail and get run off. That's what's going to happen to you. No, you will be attacked. But if you go to a government-sponsored protest, yeah, I'll say that deliberately because these protests were popping off before anything started to open. So if you're going to jump into a government-sponsored protest who made plans to do this to you a long time ago, and then you're going to get dumb enough to start open carrying because you have your Second Amendment, you're going to get dumb enough to maybe get dead. Be carried out in a body bag. They're setting you up. That's what this is. This is to set you up. And you are walking right into it, man. It's unbelievable how people just don't get it. You're not awake enough to get it. There's a time. There's a time and a place for everything. You have to let them escalate the tyranny onto you before you use that firearm in defense of your life. And then everybody better be pulling their firearms at the same time. And start fighting back to take back your freedom or lose it all. It's the only choice you have. You're either going to start fighting back to take back your freedoms or you're going to lose it all. I stand by nobody who believes we don't need to be free. These are clowns that don't even know what's falling out their mouth. They have no idea of the stuff that can happen to them once they give up their freedom because they're clowns. They don't have critical thinking skills because that's way above their IQ. No lie. Way above their IQ. They're not able to use logic and look at real history and use critical thinking skills to figure out when they're being lied to and when they're not. They're not able to put two and two together. They're not able to connect the dots. They're unable. These are the only people that's going to be for you giving up your freedoms and your rights. And them are the people I'm talking about. They're unable. They're just mentally not able to. Okay, but For the majority of us, we understand this, and I'm not nothing against Corey Man X. I'm with him on what he's angry at, what he's standing for. I'm with him on that. But I don't think he's awake enough to realize how deep this is, how long it's went, and that he's walking into a situation that's could lead him out in a body bag, and I don't want that to happen to him. He don't understand, see. It'll be a cop. No lie. It'll be a Fed or a cop. It'll be an employee of the establishment that will come in there with a gun, and they'll probably have many of them at different protests across the U.S. I don't know how many, but there'll be a few of them for sure that are going to go to different protests, and their whole mission is going to be to use their gun to create an incident. That's right. To use their gun to create an incident that they can now use to lock you down again and martial law and military on the streets and begin their tyranny. That's exactly right. That's what's going to come down. Are you ready? I hope you're ready. Now, if you understand anything I said, then you understand why I said Corey Man X needs to take heed of what I'm saying. Leave his guns at home. Keep them ready to go. When the time comes, believe me, you'll know it. And for the rest of the people that are awake, that have metal protectors, when that time comes, you're going to know it. Then everybody needs to stand together and get out their metal protectors and start fighting back. But to take your firearm to a government-sponsored protest and expect to not have this happen to you, you're seriously deluded.
You have the firearm, put your hands up! Put your hands up! Keep them there, I can see them!
And to think that this won't happen where you're at now. And to think that there won't be some agent that won't come in before these guys show up. Before these guys show up and use their gun in an ill manner that they will not be prosecuted for because they're an agent. They're paid to do it. Oh, they might fool you and pretend that they're taking him, and maybe he won't even get out of there, man. Maybe he wants to get something and get deliberately with his gun and get shot by some other protester. They're putting their life on the line doing it, but they don't care because there's a goal behind it. The goal is to cause a scene in multiple places so that we can come in and move in on your Second Amendment, because this is about taking all of your rights away from you. This is about abolishing the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. This is about enslaving everybody. This is about population reduction down to 500 million. That's what this is about. This is NWO. This is Agenda 21. This is in your face. And if you're unable to see it now, there is no help for you. I can only tell you, keep your guns at home until the time comes. Quit putting them on your back and go into these protests. I know you won't listen. I know you're still going to do it. So get ready. You may leave that protest in a body bag, and you will have accomplished nothing. Nothing. You just walked into their trap. You're doing what they want you to do. Why you can't see it is beyond me. You don't do what your enemy wants you to do, or you lose. Anyhow, I guess I'm out of here, but I just had to say that.